Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about, they knew what they ordered. Delivery driver says customer ordered 2 bottles of wine, asked them to leave at the door without ID check. So there's no shortage of customers who try to game the system, and while this looks like it would be a GoPuff video, this is something that happens across the board on every gig platform. Not to mention, I just made a video on Doordash alcohol orders. I've also made videos on UberEats alcohol orders and Grubhub alcohol orders, and trust me, every platform has this problem. So with that said, I want to go over everything that's being said in this article, how it actually is for all gig workers on all platforms, and all of their corresponding customers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Let's say you decided to have a night in at home and wanted to crack open a boozy beverage. You start looking into your pantry or wherever you store your alcohol, and there's nothing but a sad puff of air taking up the space your favorite wine, beer, or spirit of choice is supposed to be. I gotta tell you, I'm not always a fan of these articles, but I love how they paint an image. Like, that is exactly how I feel sometimes. So good on them. Good on them for painting an image that way. It's not always great, the narrative they're spinning, but they're pretty good sometimes. Ugh, do you really have to grab your keys and head out to the nearest liquor store or supermarket to buy the stuff you want? Of course not. You can totally get your booze delivered. You just have to make sure that you've got your ID present to whoever is dropping it off, just like you would if you were picking it up in person.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
And one delivery service that'll get you alcohol is GoPuff, which is similar to Instacart, Doordash, and Uber Eats, where drivers are paid a nominal fee and tips to deliver various grocery items to people's homes. What makes the service a bit different, however, is that the items are all housed at GoPuff facilities, fulfillment centers, basically stores where consumers can't walk into and buy items themselves. Delivery drivers pick up the items from these GoPuff centers and drop off orders at wherever the customers request them to be delivered. Not necessarily inaccurate, but there are a lot more differences than the surface level that he brought up. The drivers there are people that I would genuinely consider the reason that the whole misclassification argument is still an argument. The way it would work on GoPuff is that you would have to go there, tell them you're there, and then wait in your car for a GoPuff delivery. I signed up. I haven't done it because the way it works is literally how a 1099 employee would actually work. You show up to a location, you wait for orders, and by the time you get those orders, basically don't say no because you don't get to see the tips ahead of time.
You cannot be serious!
Some people like it, I just don't. One GoPuff delivery driver, Rosa, the Thealrosacisneros, showed a presumptuous customer request for an order that included 2 bottles of wine, the implications which, if Rosa decided to honor, could potentially get her in a lot of trouble. Potentially? Girl, if you did that, you could get deactivated. Not to mention, we actually cannot do those things. Like, you need the ID. It's not, oh, if you don't provide an ID, it's okay. No, we have to have the ID just to move on. Not to mention the number of sting operations in the gig economy for alcohol delivery specifically. In her TikTok video on the matter, Rosa shows a note left by the customer that reads, "GoPuff delivery, please leave at door. I can't answer, thank you." No, we can't leave it at the door. Please open the door and provide us an ID or I'm sending it back. And we'll probably make more on the return trip. Thank you. The TikToker explains why she couldn't simply comply with the customer's wishes in a text overlay for the post, writing, "They ordered 2 bottles of wine. Should I leave the order?" No! No, you should not! I don't give a rip if it's cold medicine with alcohol in it and I need to ID you. No! She added in a caption of the post that the delivery occurred on a Saturday morning. A number of TikTokers said the delivery driver should absolutely not adhere to the customer's instructions. Thank you. Thank you. Please don't get yourself deactivated for the sake of a stupid customer. Seriously. One user listed a potential upside to not completing the delivery. I would have 2 bottles, they wrote. I don't think that's actually the case. I think they would actually just have you return it and then pay you for the return trip. Someone else said that the note was clearly a tactic by someone underage trying to finagle white wine. Nah, they knew what they ordered. They speculated in what turned out to be the top comment on the post. You know what? It could be an underage person. I can't say from the handwriting itself, but I wouldn't be surprised. Another stated that in the area they actually receive compensation for booze that gets returned because the customers couldn't present a valid ID to receive it. No, in California, I have to have an ID and scan it before I leave the alcohol. We actually get paid to return it to the store if there's no ID, they claimed. Yes, that's exactly the point. Don't let people manipulate you into doing something you shouldn't do, especially when doing the right thing is going to actually pay you more. At the end of the day, Rosa shared she also ended up making money for returning the alcohol. I got $15 for returning it plus a delivery fee, she said. Hey, $15. You probably made more on the return than you did on the fee. A spokesperson for GoPuff told the Daily Dot in a statement, "We take the responsible sale of alcohol extremely seriously and continuously enhance the robust systems we have in place to prevent the sale of alcohol to underage customers. Delivery partners play a key role in helping ensure that alcohol is only sold to people 21 years old and over, and GoPuff supports and encourages delivery partners in exercising their judgment to promote the responsible delivery of age-restricted products." You know, I gotta say, out of all the things the gig apps do, they really do this pretty well in terms of making sure it's done responsibly and not putting the driver in too much of a headache. Yes, I know that Uber Eats and Grubhub have very nominal, return fees and stuff like that. Overall, they make sure the power to say no is in your hands. That's one thing that all gig apps need to start doing on a universal level, is keeping the power in the hands of the driver as opposed to the customer. Yes, I know the platforms have all the power at the end of the day, but in terms of the day-to-day on the ground, that should be in our hands anyway.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. At the end of the day, this person did the right thing and made more money on the return trip. But the reality is you can't let any customer, regardless of the platform, manipulate you into giving them an alcohol delivery. I don't care why. I don't care what the system says. I don't care what some person looks like. I don't care if they give you the whole, "Do I look like I'm underage to you?" I don't care if their ID is expired and they're obviously over the age of 21. At the end of the day, the responsibility is on you to be responsible and protect yourself from the things that could get you deactivated. This being one of them. So do yourself a favor, don't let bad customers manipulate you, and make sure you're making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way for you and your account. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.